My husband was on his way out to get a cookies and cream soft serve, but I told him I'll just make it for him instead, so that's exactly what I did.
You may have heard of the concept of Tradwife. It's this term pretty much born from the internet. In fact, it basically originates from the anonymous 4chan Wojak from 2019 that looks like this. Around the era where everyone was simping for Doomer Girl and other versions of hyper-specific Wojaks. It was a wild time. You had to be there. Sometimes there are variations though, like Doomer Tradwife. We don't talk about that one. The Tradwife or Trad Girl basically just means a traditional woman who appeals to conservative values. You've probably seen the stupid memes that are like her and Chadface hanging out or dating, or she's yelling against a red-haired woke Wojak, or she's even seen side by side with Doomer Girl. But since this whole meme and trend took off, you've had a lot of conservatives blowing up on social media playing off of this sort of Tradwife stereotype. At least that's how they're perceived. From Ben Shapiro's sister to SD Williams, who would make TikToks of herself baking pumpkin bread wearing a sundress, it's like cosplay, but for the atomic age. Little House on the Prairie vibes, lead in the paint, stuff like that. The so-called Tradwife in the news right now is Nara Smith, an influencer who has become famous for her cooking videos and persona. After marrying her husband Lucky Blue, she converted to Mormonism, and TikTok started blowing up like this one where she picks different baby names. She wants to name her kid Bubble or Frosty, because children are to be named after cartoons, like the Powerpuff Girls. I'm gonna name my kids Ed, Ed, and Eddie. The cooking videos do numbers too, like this homemade PB&J sandwich or these homemade Oreos. I mean, irregardless of everything, these do look pretty good. I would eat them. I mean, it's good food. Even if she's talking about Mormonism or Planet Collab all night or whatever at the dinner table, I'd still come over. Food is food. Also, the way that she speaks is obviously a big ticket to why these are so successful. It's basically ASMR.
This morning, my toddler stumbled into my room, and her first words were PB&J, so that's exactly what I got started on.
Anyway, as time went on, the videos would get criticized for portraying Mormon propaganda, like this video from Sabi's Books or this other critique from the news movement. The controversies are mostly that she is showcasing the positives of a Mormon life without showing the negative, or whatever. I don't know. We see the Oreos, but we don't see the 18 wives. Personally, as someone who didn't know what any of this meant or was until working on this video, like yeah, she has a classic haircut and dresses modest, she's making food like it's to be eaten on an episode of The Jetsons, but I've watched a few and I'm not really seeing any Mormon brainwashing. She doesn't really knead the dough and then go, okay, so there are 3 levels of heaven, right? There's the celestial kingdom, okay. I'm not Mormon or interested, so what I take from this is that I want to make more homemade bread. However, I totally understand the critique, and it's also pretty funny how in the comments of her newer TikToks, it's just everyone screaming, girl, you should be in the club! Tradwife, Mormon, or whatever. This is causing quite a stir online. Twitter quote tweets like, a lot of TikToks make a lot more sense when you realize that they're Mormon propaganda. Yeah, I guess we have been physically blasted by the cinnamon roll Mormon conversion spell. Or other tweets like, imagine saying you want a PB&J, and then you have to wait 4 hours while your mom makes it. This is true. I would have been pretty upset if I asked for, chicken tenders during my epic GameCube sesh as a kid, and my mom takes all night trying to catch a chicken in the pasture outside the butcher and hand bread it with like 1940s corn or something, just to get my tendies. Worst night ever. I need my tendies while I play Break the Targets. Redditors have a lot to say too. This TikTok reaction from this guy, Professor Neil, who politicked it out, got 48,000 upvotes. There are some interesting analyses of class here. Like obviously it's pretty hard to copy this Tradwife or whatever you want to call it lifestyle. Nobody has time to make cereal from scratch for 8 hours. You have to like watch your kids and clean up and go to 2 different jobs and have a fight with your husband for an hour and then he storms off to the bar and you smoke a cigarette in the garage, that kind of stuff. Anyway, what do you think of this Tradwife trend? What do you think of Nara? I'm getting a bread maker, personally. I'm making a loaf of bread. An agnostic loaf of bread. No hidden messaging here.